If you've been wanting to add some clothes storage to a small space like a pantry, a laundry room, or a closet, you're gonna wanna keep watching this video. Not only am I gonna show you how we added a pantry to this kitchen, but I'm gonna share with you the genius hack that allowed us to get clothes storage options in this really tight, narrow space. If you're new here, I'm Lena. I am a real estate agent turned renovator, and I am renovating my forever home. Our house was missing one major thing in the kitchen when we bought it. You're going to invest your time, your money, and your energy to remodel a house. You gotta start with the kitchen. And one huge selling point that our house was missing was a pantry. A pantry! We had one cupboard to store everything with, and I knew that wasn't gonna work for our family of 5. It would be replacing the kitchen island that was there with a nice flat level island. The dining nook just started to become obsolete. So I thought to myself, could we build a pantry in this dining nook? But there was one big problem and challenge: the window. I didn't wanna lose the window. I didn't wanna lose the light. So how could we build a pantry around this window? After a lot of thought and consideration, I started to think about the pantry in a different way. What if we made it more of a walk-in pantry that was open and felt like an extension of the kitchen? That way we got to keep the window, but I wanted to give it some character, so I thought, give me an arch. I love all the arches, and I think they add just so much character to a space. So instead of having a closed off pantry, we created this walk-in butler style pantry that would have enough room to have some cabinets, but we had one challenge. Again, the spacing was really small and tiny, so I had to figure out a way that we were gonna get closed cabinets, and this man was amazing. I could have watched him all day do the drywall. But I don't want all of my pantry goods just out in the open. I am not organized enough for open shelving, and what you're seeing today, please know my pantry doesn't always look like this. I just cleaned it up for you. We needed somehow to close off the cabinetry so that you couldn't see everything that we had. I want it to just feel like an extension of the kitchen. So I just picked these up from our local big box hardware store, and this isn't as heavy as you think. I'm using 3 different sizes. I will link all of those below so you know exactly what I used for my space. So this is one of medium-sized ones. Okay, let's take it inside. Are actually upper cabinets that I'm going to be using on the floor. It's a very narrow space, so look, they're not deep at all. The traditional lower base cabinets would be way too big for the space. So here's a little hack. You can use upper wall cabinets as base cabinets. That's exactly what we're going to do. They have shelving that will go in. I'm going to try to do. These are my existing kitchen cabinets. They are very expensive Thomasville cabinets. They're heavy, they're made out of pure maple, but we're building out a butler's pantry. And instead of spending thousands of dollars on the cabinets for that, I'm going to see if I can make these look like my Thomasville ones. They're unfinished beech cabinets. They're a little bit lighter than these heavy ones, but again, I'm using these for a butler's pantry. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars. First step in turning these upper cabinets into base cabinets was to dry fit everything in the space. Again, I used 3 different sizes. I have linked them all below. The first thing that I needed to do was to create a toe kick for these cabinets. That's standard on lower cabinets, and it allows you to walk up to the cabinet without running into it. I did this using 2x4s, and I'm not a woodworker, and I just created this very simple rectangular base that the cabinets could sit on. It would raise it up a few inches, and it would give me something else to secure them to. I secured this to the wall, to the studs, and then I placed everything on top using a level and wood clamps to just make everything really tight, and then screwing them together. And this one little corner, I had a gap, so I decided that I would build some simple shelves and a base just using some MDF wood and create little shelves that I could put bread or other things in. Because I really wanted to be able to put my coffee machines in this pantry, we decided to utilize the dead corner and do a drop-in outlet. So now my challenge is, how do I make these builder grade, ready to go cabinets look like my expensive Thomasville cabinet? The thing that I did was remove all the doors off the cabinet. Here's a tip: make sure you label all the doors and which cabinets they go on. Now here is my secret weapon: these panels that I ordered pre-made from Home Depot, and I have linked them below. They come in several different sizes, and I just picked the ones that match these particular doors the best. To attach the panels to the front of the doors, I first used wood glue. Then I came back over with a brad nailer, and I kept this part in because I made a mistake. I got the wrong size nails for my brad nailer, so I was using using 18 gauge, but using the wrong type of nail, so make sure you double check that when you are using a brad nailer. Once I got the right nails, we were in business and these puppies are not coming off. Now, to seal all the seams and the holes, I decided to use Bondo. You could use wood filler, but Bondo will hold up for a lot longer. Bondo is super smelly, so you need to make sure that you're wearing eye protection and a mask when you mix this stuff up. And to be very honest with you, my Bondo skills are still coming about. If you're not familiar, Bondo is a 2-part mixture, so you put on this goo and then you squeeze in a tube and it makes a super hard finish when you're done. So it will fill just about any hole, any crevice, and it will last a very long time. So once that I had this all mixed up, I went and applied it on top of every single hole where I had put a brad nail and then along the edges of the actual panel so you couldn't see a seam. This will make it look very custom and built in once we go to paint. So again, I just use applying a putty knife. You could use your finger, anything to get into those small crevices. Again, my Bondo skills are a work in progress. You do want to lightly sand when you're... Then it was time to apply the primer. Here are 2 different ones that you use. I personally like the one that you paint on because I find it a lot smoother, but you could use the spray primer. I've linked both of these primers below. The bin 123 is the absolute go-to. I painted the kitchen cabinets, including the pantry cabinets that used to have a glazed finish to them, a solid satin finish. I used Benjamin Moore Advanced Paint and the color is Riviera Pewter. If you want to paint cabinets using paint sprayer, check out some of my other videos because I go over this process in depth. But again, spraying them just gave them a really updated finished look, especially the ones that I used to add the panels to. They turned out so good. It has like this acrylic finish. They look factory finish like, and here's how the kitchen overall looked. And if you remember, here was the dining nook before, and here is the after. This pantry remodel is honestly one of my favorite things that we've done in the house so far. Even though it's small and tiny, I come in here and I make my coffee and I look out the window and I just enjoy it so much. The ability to just match those cabinets to these existing ones saved me a ton of money. Love that we're able to close everything off. Again, it's really clean for you today. It's not always like that. I love that I got to put a little bit of just a fun touch of tile in here. I get asked a lot about the countertops. If you have a small space that you want to put countertops on, but you don't want to buy a full slab, always go to a stone yard and ask them to see the remnants. That's just leftover pieces of stone that they'll sell to you and cut to whatever project that you have. And another tip, you don't need a contractor to do countertops. Just go to the stone yard directly. They'll send their people out to measure it. So tell me in the comments which part you like the most. And I hope you find this helpful. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll like this next one. Catch you guys next time.